All right, so at this point, I still haven't edited slash uploaded the other video that I made. So right now, this is still pretty fresh content for me. I will try to summarize the story. I mean, yeah, I've been using the 16-inch MacBook Pro for a while. I've enjoyed it. It's been my primary editing device. I told myself that, hey, maybe I should give the Mac Studio a try. So I did. And I purchased the base model M1 Max Mac Studio. Got it for a decent price through Apple's website, refurbished plus a military discount. And I said, cool. And honestly, it was an okay machine. But the main issue that I expressed in one of my previous videos is I didn't like the fact that those two USB-C ports on the front of the machine didn't allow a video signal out. As I said before, and I have no problem reiterating it, just because they aren't Thunderbolt ports doesn't mean they aren't capable or should not be capable of sending out video. Consider subscribing. Every time I bring it up, I have a Lenovo ThinkPad T14 upstairs. It has an AMD processor in it. There's no Thunderbolt associated with that machine, but those ports, those two USB-C ports, are full service ports, meaning data in and out, video out. I can charge the device using either one of those two USB-C ports. Obviously, it's a desktop, so I don't need to charge through the port, but yes, I can send and receive data from those two front ports, but I should be able to output video, and that's just something Apple does because of Apple. So I know I've talked about this a lot, and I just remembered I recorded this video talking about the Mac Studio, but I did not edit it yet, so I can throw this in here. I've been doing nothing but complaining about those two USB-C ports on the front of the device. Some people are probably saying at this point, oh, well, they're not Thunderbolt ports, so they shouldn't be able to do everything that the Thunderbolt ports can do, which in terms of data, throughput, and even maybe video resolution, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But you don't need Thunderbolt in order to have video. And the reason that we're on this screen right now is, let me scroll up, because I was actually talking about this for another video. We have the iPad Air and the iPad Mini. One came out last year, one came out 2 years ago. Both of them have USB-C ports. Both of them use the DisplayPort protocol, meaning video comes out of those ports. No Thunderbolt, but it still works. I myself have connected, when I did have my iPad Mini, connected it to a computer monitor, connected it to a dock, and then the dock recognized it and sent the video signal out to the monitor, connected it to a television. So it works. You don't need Thunderbolt. So I really just wish Apple had put or given those two ports the ability to output video. There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to send out video from those ports. And for my use case, it would make things so much simpler because I have a dock up there and I'm constantly going back between my laptop and the desktop. And it just got to the point where it was getting uncomfortable and tiresome, and just it was an annoyance having to always reach to the rear side of the Mac Studio to plug in my USB-C cable in order to connect it to the dock, so that way I could get video out and of course start using my keyboard and mouse. Didn't like that. So what I did do, which I probably should have considered this first, is I bought a USB-C to USB-C male to female. I think it's still tracking my face. But yeah, USB-C male to female cable. So of course you plug the male side into the back of the Mac Studio, and the female side comes on the other side, and I'm able to plug in the USB-C cable from my dock into this, and now I no longer have to reach to the rear side of the Mac Studio. Unfortunately, I've been having some issues with this. It was just some random brand on eBay, so it's not like it's a name brand product. But for some reason, I am able to, when this is connected to the dock, I am able to receive a video signal out so I can see what's on the screen, but it doesn't always pick up my keyboard and mouse. So I'll need to work on that and figure out if that's a problem with the cable, a problem with the dock, a combination of the two. Maybe something doesn't like something, and it shows. So even though I was hoping that this was going to be a a $35 solution, which is probably more than this cable is actually worth. So far, it's not doing what I need it to do. So before this actually arrived, though, I said, well, let me just see what's going on with the M1 Ultra Mac Studio. And that's what I got here. And I'll tell you, everybody on YouTube has said that the Ultra is heavier, and it is. This thing says it's 14 pounds on the front, but the other one that I had definitely, I think, said maybe 10 or 11 pounds. So yeah, it is, it is definitely heavier. And the other thing that I like, which maybe I can move my camera and show you, it is the attention to detail that Apple puts. So as you can see here, we have two boxes. The one on the left side is, just a regular box that somebody used to mail a computer to me, a Mac Studio. And it's a little bit larger than the one that Apple sent, which is the one on the right. And it's not important, but I think it definitely just goes to show the, one, it is part attention to detail. But since Apple knows that, hey, we need a box specifically for this specific device, we know the exact dimensions of it. Let's, yes, spend the time and effort and money getting the producer of these boxes to custom fit the box. But at the end of the day, you end up using a little bit less cardboard each individual time. So maybe, you actually do end up saving some money, at least Apple does. So definitely just thought that was interesting to see that the box right here is pretty much a perfect size for the Mac Studio. So nothing wrong with this. This is the box that you and I would use if we send something out. But of course, Apple has their custom stuff. All right, so I've already done this before, but there's a little strip right there. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Let's give it a try. Okay. And yeah, this is my second time doing it. And by this point, you've seen other people with their unboxings. Let's lift it up. And since it was one of their refurbished ones, they actually have the little seal right here. So let's go ahead and pull that back. Alright. I believe. Let's go ahead and open this guy. And like I said, I've done this before. You've seen other people do it. And yeah, it's definitely hard doing this with one hand. But open this and pull it out. Yeah, this is definitely heavier than the last one. Of course, yes, you have this nice plastic, which this could have been done a little bit better. I mean, it's not really worth complaining about, but definitely, I just opened it and this little part is already falling out. It's almost as if it wasn't even positioned properly to actually be secured on this side. Let me go ahead and undo the ones that were done. Slide it out. And there we have it. So, yeah, definitely heavier than the other one. In terms of I/O, we can just do this real quick. Let me get a little bit closer. So yes, we have our 4 USB-C / Thunderbolt ports right here. We have a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, power port, 2 USB-A ports, HDMI, headphone combination jack right there. And of course, all of these are the exact same as what's on the M1 Max Mac Studio. But when you come to the front, yes, you have your SD card slot right here, but these 2 little USB-C ports are, by Apple's accord, special because these 2 are also Thunderbolt ports, meaning that the complaint that I had about not being able to plug my dock directly into these front ports and get all of the functionality that I require should be mitigated with these 2 additional ports. So I'm going to take this upstairs and hook everything up, and then I will test it out. But like I said, this thing is definitely heavier than the M1 Max one. And in terms of performance, we'll see exactly how things go. And even though I just said I was going to cut off this video, the one thing that I wanted to mention, and it was one of the driving factors for me purchasing this, not even knowing if I'm going to keep it, is a lot of people, when they are doing their benchmarks and things of that nature, it's always how fast can I get something done? And as I've been mentioning before, one of the things I'm getting into is virtualization. And I'm not really too concerned about speed, but I'm more concerned about load. So how many virtual machines can I run at one time? And with the M1 Max that I have, yes, you have the single processor, and that one has 32 gigs of RAM. So every time you load an additional VM, you see the resources get used up. And I am happy to say that when all of the virtual machines, and I think right now I've been able to get 10 running simultaneously, what you'll see is that when they're all actively doing something, yes, the processor kind of spikes. That M1 Max spikes. You can open Activity Monitor and see, oh, all right, I am utilizing resources. But with only 32 gigs of RAM, technically, yes, all of the machines are loaded, but I think the most I've seen is maybe like 8 gigabytes worth of swap memory being used, which just means that some of the things that were loaded in the RAM have been put on the SSDs temporarily until I need them again, and they go back and forth. So it almost appears that the M1 Max can handle more work. As long as they're not all kicking doing it, like loading operating systems and doing a bunch of stuff at the same time, I'm quite confident I could get more than 10 loaded at one time. But the limitation at that point really appeared to be the RAM. And I thought about, okay, well, maybe 64 gigs will be enough, or maybe I should consider getting 64 gigs. And of course, with these machines, since everything's soldered, it's not a after purchase decision that you can make. But with this particular unit right here, as I said before, it does have the M1 Ultra, so that's two M1 Maxes together, and it does not have 64 gigs of RAM, but it has 128 gigs of RAM. So I should be able to really load a bunch of virtual machines on here just to see exactly, and in doing so, I'll be able to see exactly how this machine is able to handle that type of load. I don't want to make a habit of constantly buying and returning, buying, returning. So full disclosure, the first Mac Studio that I did receive, I did get Apple certified refurbished like this. And I ended up returning that one because I just wasn't satisfied with it. But between that one going back and this one arriving, and actually two of them arrived on the same day, I bought one from a seller on eBay, and the return policy for that particular seller is no returns. So I'm stuck with that one. But with this one, yes, it might stay. It might, right now it's kind of serving as a test bed to see exactly what do I need. And some might say, oh, that's wasteful, and you started, but it's like, well, it's not the user's fault that I have to make those decisions at buy time. And if the decision is wrong and I'm still within my return window, then I'm going to send it back. But if I were able to upgrade anything inside this machine, then yeah, it would be perfect. So yeah, I'm excited to give it a test. And yeah, I'll definitely upload another video talking more about this particular device.